Nature provides us the basic needs like food, shelter, clothes, etc. for our survival. We use air, water, soil, minerals like coal, petroleum, animals, plants, etc. in our daily life. But do you ever think how long these precious metals of the nature will be available for our use? The growing population, rapid industrialization and urbanization have created heavy demand on all these materials. It is feared that unless proper steps are taken to conserve them in time, we will face tremendous hardship in future. Let us know all about them in detail in this lesson. After completing this lesson, you will be able to explain the term natural resources, familiarize with the tradition practiced in India for conservation of nature, describe the reasons for degradation of resources and suggest measures to prevent these, explain sustainable development and justify its needs. The term resource means anything that we use from our environment to achieve our objective. For example, we require bricks, cement, iron, wood, etc. to construct a building. All these items are called the resources for construction of a building. A resource can be defined as any natural or artificial substance, energy or organism which is used by human being for its welfare. These resources are of two types, natural resources and artificial resources. All that the nature has provided such as soil, air, water, minerals, coal, sunshine, animals and plants, etc. are known as natural resources. Human beings use these directly or indirectly for survival and welfare. The resources which have been developed by human being during the growth of civilization are called artificial resources. For example, biogas, thermal electricity, plastics, etc. are man-made resources. These man-made resources are generally derived from some other natural resources. For example, plastics and many other chemical products are ultimately derived from the natural resource of petroleum. So, coming to classification of natural resources, the air we breathe and the light we get from the sun are available in unlimited quantity. But what about coal, forest and petroleum? The stock of these resources is limited. The quantity of these resources is depleting day by day. The resources, natural or artificial, example electricity, exhaustible, inexhaustible, example solar energy, wind energy, rainfall, tidal energy, renewable, non-renewable, that is wind, water, forest or coal, petroleum, iron and the biological species. The inexhaustible resources, the resources which cannot be exhausted by human consumption and other uses are called inexhaustible resources. These include energy sources like solar radiation, wind power, water power and the tidal power and the substances like sand, clay, air, water in ocean, etc. The exhaustible resources on the other hand, there are some resources which are available in limited quantities and are going to be exhausted as a result of continuous use, and these are called as exhaustible resources. For example, the stock of coal in the earth is limited and one day there will be no more coal available for our use. Petroleum is another important exhaustible resource. Coming to renewable resources, some of the exhaustible resources are naturally generated after consumption and are known as renewable resources. The living beings, both animals and plants, reproduce and can thus replace the dying or killed individuals. However, if the consumption of these resources exceeds the rate of regeneration, they may also get totally exhausted. Some examples are fresh water, fertile soil, forest, vegetation, wildlife, etc. The non-renewable resources, the resources which cannot be replaced after the use, are known as non-renewable resources. These includes minerals like copper, iron, etc., fossil fuels like coal, oil, etc., and even the wildlife species, that is, the rare plants and animals, belong to this category. As the human population is continuously growing, the consumption of natural resources is also increasing. With the increasing industrialization and modern human society, the use of all the resources is rising. If they are not properly used and well managed, a serious scarcity will result. Therefore, we need to conserve the natural resources. This will also upset the ecological balance. Conservation is the proper management of natural resource, prevent its exploitation, destruction or degradation. Conservation is the sum of total activities which can derive benefits from natural resources, but at the same time prevent excessive use leading to destruction or degradation. What is the need for conservation of natural resources? We know that the nature provides us all our basic needs, but we tend to over exploit it. If we go on exploiting the nature, there will be no more resources available in future. There is an urgent need to conserve the nature. Some of the needs are to maintain ecological balance for supporting life, to preserve different kinds of species, basically the biodiversity, to make the resources available for present and future generation, and to ensure the survival of human race. So, the need for conservation of natural resource was felt by our predecessors, and in India there was a tradition of respecting and preserving the nature and natural resources. Natural resources were conserved in the form of sacred groves and forests, sacred pools and lakes, and sacred species, etc. In our country, the conservation of natural forest is known from ancient times. Sacred forests are forest patches of different dimensions dedicated by the tribals to their deities and ancestral spirits. Cutting down trees, hunting and other human interferences were strictly prohibited in these forests. This practice is widespread, particularly in peninsular, central and eastern India, and has resulted in the protection of a large number of plants and animals. And similarly, several water bodies like the Kechuan-Palri lake in Sikkim was declared sacred by people, thus protecting aquatic flora and the fauna. Worshipping certain plants like banyan, peepal, tulsi, etc. has not only preserved them, but also encouraged us for their plantation. History recalls numerous instances where people have laid down their lives in protecting the trees. The recent Chipko movement in India is one of the best examples. This movement was started by women in Gopeshwar village in Garhwal in Himalayas. They stopped the felling of trees by hugging them when the lumbermen arrived to cut them. This saved about 12,000 square kilometers of sensitive water catchment area. Similar movements also occurred in some other parts of the country. Soil is the uppermost layer of earth crust which supports growth of plants. It is a complex mixture of the mineral particles which are basically formed from rocks, the humus which is an organic material formed from decaying plant remains, mineral salts, water, air and living organisms which are larger ones like earthworms and insects, and microscopic ones like the bacteria and fungi. Humus, a brown or black organic substance consisting of partially or wholly decayed vegetable or animal matter that provides nutrients for plants and increases the ability of soil to retain water. Soil is a renewable as well as non-renewable resource. Soil is renewable because its productivity can be maintained with fertilizers and manures rich in humus. If the soil has been removed from a certain place by erosion, it is practically non-renewable because formation of new soil may take hundreds and thousands of years. Coming to soil erosion, erosion literally means to wear away. You might have noticed during the summer when the wind blows, it carries away sand and soil particles from one place to another. Similarly, flowing water removes some amount of soil along with it. This removal of top layers of soil by wind and water is called soil erosion. You know that top layers of soil contain humus and mineral salts, which are vital for the growth of plants. Thus, erosion causes a significant loss of humus and nutrients and decreases the fertility of soil. So, let us discuss what are the causes of soil erosion. There are several causes of soil erosion, and these include natural causes and anthropogenic causes, means usually the human generated causes. The natural causes of soil erosion takes place due to the effect of natural agents like wind and water. High velocity winds over lands which have no vegetation carry away the loose top soil. Similarly, in areas with no or very little vegetation, the pouring raindrops carry away the soil. The anthropogenic causes of soil erosion, besides the natural agents, there are some human activities which cause soil erosion. Now, let us know what are they. The first one is deforestation. If the forests are cut down for timber or for farming purposes, then the soil is no longer protected from the effect of falling rains. Consequently, the top soil is washed away into the rivers and oceans. Second one, poor farming methods. Improper tillage and failure to replace humus after successive crops and burning the stubble and weeds reduce the water holding capacity of the soil. So, the soil becomes dry and can be blown away as dust. And the next one is overgrazing. Overgrazing by flocks of cattle, buffaloes, goats and sheep leave very little plant cover on the soil. Their hooves make the soil dry and soil can be blown away easily. Now, how to conserve the soil? In the previous section, we learnt about the various causes of soil erosion. Soil loses its fertility due to erosion. So, we need to conserve the soil. Soil conservation means checking soil erosion and improving soil fertility by adopting various methods. Let us know some of these methods. Number 1, maintenance of soil fertility. The fertility can be maintained by adding manure and fertilizers regularly as well as by rotation of crop. Second one, control on grazing. Grazing should be allowed only on the areas meant for it and not on agricultural land. Third, reforestation. Planting of trees and vegetation reduces soil erosion by both water and wind. Fourth, terracing. Dividing a slope into several flat fields to control rapid runoff water. It is practiced mostly in hilly areas. And the fifth one, contour ploughing. Ploughing at right angles to the slope allows the furrows to trap water and check soil erosion by rainwater. Water is a precious resource. Let us now discuss this important natural resource. You know it very well that water is essential for survival of all living organisms. It is the most important component of all life forms and necessary for sustaining life. It regulates climate, generates electricity and is also useful in agricultural and industries. About 97% of the water on earth is saline in nature, which is found in seas and oceans. The remaining 3% is fresh water and most of which is stored in ice caps and glaciers, and just about 0.36% is distributed in lakes, rivers, ponds, etc. Seawater supports marine life and contributes to the production of fish and seafoods and several other commercial products like iodine, agar, coral, pearls, etc. Fresh water is needed by humans for their personal use like drinking, cleaning, sewage disposal. It is also used by other animals in agriculture and for industrial purposes. Fresh water is a renewable resource as it is continuously being produced through hydrological cycle, that is evaporation, condensation and precipitation. Degradation of water is the decrease in quantity and quality of water on the surface of the earth. With increase in population and industrial growth, water is being degraded day by day. The main reasons for the degradation of water are: number 1, to meet the need of increasing population. Surface water like water from ponds, lake, rivers, etc. and groundwater are overdrawn. Second one, sewage, that is wastewater from domestic and municipal use makes fresh water unfit for use by human beings and animals. Wastewater from all industries flow down the surface water bodies and groundwater bodies and they get polluted. Agriculture waste containing manures, fertilizers and pesticides enter the water bodies and degrade the quality of water. The continuous decrease of groundwater level along coastal region often cause movement of saline water into freshwater wells, thus spoiling their water quality. This can be achieved adopting the following methods. Number 1, growing vegetation in the catchment areas which will hold water in the soil and allow it to percolate deeper into layers and contribute to formation of groundwater. Second one, constructing dams and reservoirs to regulate supply of water to the fields as well as to enable generating hydroelectricity. Third one, sewage should be treated and only the clear water should be released into the rivers. Fourth one, industrial waste or the effluents should be treated to prevent chemical and thermal pollution of fresh water. And the most important fifth one is the judicious use of water in our day to day life. Rainwater harvesting should be done by storing rainwater and recharging groundwater. We have always been using different form of energy obtained from various sources for our daily activity like cooking, heating, ploughing, transportation, lighting, etc. For example, heat energy required for cooking purpose is obtained from either firewood, kerosene, coal, electricity or cooking gas. The LPG, which we call it as liquefied petroleum gas, we use animal power like horse, bullock carts, etc. So, different forms of these energies are obtained from various sources. Coming to types of energy sources, there are two main categories of energy sources. One, conventional sources of energy which are easily available and have been in usage for a long time. Second one, non-conventional sources of energy that are other than the usual or that are different from those in common practice. The table below summarizes the list of both the above categories of energy resources. We have the conventional energy and non-conventional energy. In conventional energy, we can divide into two, that is conventional non-renewable energy like mostly fossil fuels found under the ground, and examples are coal, oil, natural gas, etc. And the second one is conventional renewable energy, mostly non-fossil fuels seen above the ground like firewood, cattle dung, farm vegetable waste, wood, charcoal, etc. The non-conventional energy such as solar energy, hydel energy, wind energy, nuclear energy, hydrogen energy, geothermal energy, biogas, tidal energy and biofuel. These have been in use since ancient times. Most important among them are the fossil fuels. So, we shall know details about the fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the fossilized remains of plants and animals which over millions of years have been transformed into coal, petroleum products and natural gas. Coal is the most abundant fossil fuel. It is widely used for combustion in cooking and industrial activities. There are different types of coal products such as coal, gas, coal tar, benzene, toluene, etc., which are used for various purposes. Oil and natural gases are formed from plants and animals which once lived in the tropical seas. Oil or the petroleum is a source of countless products. Apart from petroleum, diesel and other fuels, petroleum products include lubricants, waxes, solvents, dyes, etc. Petroleum reserves are supposed to last for another 100 years or so. Coming to natural gas is often found with petroleum. The gas mainly contains methane. Apart from serving as fuel in several industries, it is being increasingly used as domestic fuel in many countries including India. USA is the largest producer as well as consumer of natural gas. Nowadays, in big cities and town, it is being supplied through pipelines which is called PNG. The natural gas is also used as a fuel to run vehicles. It is known as compressed natural gas, that is CNG. It is accepted as an economical and less polluting fuel for transport. The LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, is the common cooking gas used in Indian homes. It is a mixture of propane and butane gases kept under pressure in liquid form, but they burn in gaseous form. This gas is made available in a specific container for domestic as well as industrial uses. It is a byproduct of petroleum refineries. As we have already learnt about conventional sources of energy, whether renewable or non-renewable, which are fast depleting and will not last longer. Therefore, greater utilization of non-conventional sources of energy like solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, etc., will have to be used. We will discuss about some of these energy sources. Coming to solar energy is the ultimate source of all energies on earth. Firewood, coal, oil or natural gas are the products of plants and other organisms which had used solar energy for the synthesis of organic molecules during photosynthesis. Even today, it will turn out to be the most important answer to problems of energy except nuclear energy. The solar energy has the following advantages. They are: it is abundant, it is everlasting, it is available almost everywhere, it is free from political barriers. Various technologies in which solar energy can be and is being utilized: solar cookers, solar hot water systems, solar dryers used for drying crop yields, solar air heaters, solar kilns and solar desalination systems and batteries. Coming to tidal or hydro energy, the generation of electricity by using the force of falling water is called hydroelectricity or tidal power. It is cheaper than thermal or nuclear power. For its generation, dams are built to store water which is made to fall to rotate turbines that generate electricity. Coming to wind energy, wind as an energy can be utilized in our daily life by converting it into mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is used to generate electricity, raise water from wells and rivers for irrigation and other purposes. Windmills have been used since early times to provide power for grinding grains. It is also used for grain cutting and shelling. In India, a large number of windmills are being constructed on the sea beach and hilly areas. A windmill can draw water up to a maximum depth of 55 feet and the output is about 4000 to 9000 liters of water per hour. Coming to tidal energy is one that is produced by making the use of water movement from a high tide to a low tide. Ocean waves and tides can be made to turn a turbine and generate electricity. Areas where rivers flow into the sea experience waves and tides, and electricity can be generated there. As you know, we have a large coastline and major river systems in our country. Electricity can be generated on a large scale from the waves and tides. Coming to nuclear energy, radioactive elements like uranium and thorium disintegrate spontaneously, releasing large quantities of energy. This energy can be trapped to produce electricity. 25% of world's thorium reserve is found in our country, which can be utilized to generate electricity. The most advanced countries have nuclear power stations. We too have some in India. For example, Tarapur in Maharashtra, Kalpakam in Tamil Nadu, Narora in Uttar Pradesh and Kota in Rajasthan, apart from various others. Approximately 3% of India's electricity comes from nuclear power and about 25% is expected to come by 2050. Installation cost of nuclear power stations are very high, but maintenance costs are relatively low. If not carefully maintained, these also have an inherent rise of causing radioactive pollution. Coming to the geothermal energy, this is the energy derived from the heat in the interior of the earth. In volcanic regions, springs and fountains of hot water called geysers are commonly found. These eruptions of hot steaming water can be used to turn turbines and produce electricity in geothermal power plants. In this method, cold water is allowed to seep through the fissures in the rocks till it reaches the hot rocks in the lower layers. Water gets heated and gets converted into steam, which forces out to the surface to be used in power generation. Conservation of energy resources. We have already learned about the different types of sources of energy and how they are useful to us. Now, we need to think about our daily life activity and the types of energy we use in each activity. Every day, you and your family members are using 4 to 5 sources of energy. Similarly, other people, industries and different establishments are using energy every day. The demand for energy is increasing day by day and exploitation of the energy resources is on the rise. Thus, energy sources are depleting gradually. There is an urgent need to conserve energy, else adequate energy will not be available in future, and some methods to conserve energy are: minimize exploitation of non-renewable energy resources, emphasis on use of renewable sources of energy, stop wastage of energy, creating awareness among people regarding wise and judicious use of energy, more use of biomass based energy. Any natural or artificial substance, energy or organism which is used by human being for its welfare is called as resource. So, we have seen the two types of resource, that is natural and artificial resource. Conservation is the sum of total activities which can derive benefits from natural resources, but at the same time prevent excessive use leading to destruction or neglect. Sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present generation and conserves it for the